Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Who's ready to walk around in circles this morning? Hey, Romuald. Good to see you back.
Everyone.
Hi.
Morning, everyone. Morning, Eli.
All right, well, this is our first general class that's going to involve some Bagua. Actually, I think I did randomly do some Bagua at one of the other classes last year. But so yeah, as I said, tonight it's the morning. This morning's class is like the Taiji classes where we're just doing general training, not a specific thing, but involving the Bagua form instead of either the Yangluchan Taiji form or the small Sansao. So we'll still do a warm up, maybe some Qigong at some point, things like that. But the sort of bits that we might drill through and do a little bit of training in, whether it be flow or details, it's going to involve the Bagua form instead of any of the Taiji forms. So obviously it's aimed at people who kind of at least have some idea of the form already. This is not your, from scratch one. That's the Tuesday morning one where we started the form from scratch. That's learning the form from scratch. So this morning one, yeah, we'll just sort of maybe do some of the walking, some of the changes, a couple of the form postures with some detail, a bit of flow, things like that. So we'll just, as I say, it's a general training class, assuming you know a little bit about the Bagua form already. Okay, let's do some of it, shall we? That'll do. All right, so general warm up first, especially this morning. Let's start moving our bodies. Let's do our opening and closing of the spine. If you're cold in the morning, don't go max range of motion first. Just kind of open up just to where it feels natural and comfortable without putting too much pressure on the body. And then fold it back up. Again, just kind of gently closing the body. Breathe it along with your breath, breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. As you're moving through the movement, your spine is warming up, all the muscles around your spine are warming up. So the range of motion should increase. Opening it up that little bit more each time. Hands to the sides. Pinching the shoulders back. Lifting them up, externally rotating the shoulders. Standing onto the toes. Standing up, up, up. Reaching towards the ceiling. Chest lifting up. And dropping down. Breathing out. Same again. In breath. Out breath. In breath. Out breath. In breath, link your fingers, scoop them up the center. Push out to the front. Hollow your body out, round it in. Release your hands, hinge forward from the hips, straighten up your spine, and lift your palms up as high as they can go, really focusing on squeezing the muscles just below your scapula to lift your arms up. Then stand up, straightening your body, and pulling your shoulders back and down to relax. Repeat the same thing again, so it's in breath as you scoop the hands up, out breath as you round forward, in breath as you hinge forward and lift your palms up, then an out breath, then a next in breath you're going to stand up, and then out breath as you relax the arms down. One more time, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Lower spine, warm up, sink down either to 45 degrees, we'll do the exercise here, or if you're feeling strong enough you can pull it down to 90 degrees with the spine straight. Then relax your spine. Breathe in and straighten your spine. Relax your spine. Breathe in, straighten your spine and open your hands out to the sides. Breathe out, relax everything down. Breathe in, open everything up. Straightening the spine. You're not arching your spine like that first exercise we were doing. We're just straightening the spine and lifting the shoulders out to the rear. So pinching the shoulder blades back and relax down. Open it up. Keeping your head on straight and relax it down. Roll your spine back up. Breathing in. Breathing out at the top. Drop into a lunge. Sink down into your legs. So you're getting some heat coming through the muscles, bit of blood flow, lengthening and stretching through that rear leg, wriggling the heel, the ankle around. So drop the heel back to stretch through the calf, but also point it forward to stretch through the front of the foot. Open the hips, close the hips, bobbing up and down, moving back and forth. Just generally moving your hips around and your legs around to bring some heat through this region in this cold morning. Switch sides. Same thing, just gradually, softly move everything around, getting the muscles stretching open and activating, pressing and moving that rear ankle. Opening and closing the hips, dropping up and down, bobbing forward and back. Okay, let's try elbow to knee. So feet parallel. Drop your opposite elbow down to the knee, towards the knee. Flexing that glute, really engage that glute, make sure that's holding your body. And then bring it back up. Take the other one down towards that knee. Again, engage that glute. It should be nice and hard here. Bring it back up. See how low you can get to try to get that elbow down to touch the knee. And notice I'm twisting my body a little bit, so I'm actually facing over this way, you see, like I'm trying to face up to the ceiling, in fact. Standing back up. The other arm is squeezing out to the rear, as far back as it can go, whilst the front arm is pulling across your body as far as you can go. So one shoulder is sort of fully open, the other shoulder is fully closed. Breathing in as you stand up, breathing out as you go down. If you want to add something to that, nice little twist on your spine, be careful, listen to your own body of course, but you can go down into that position, down, 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 down. If you can get your elbow onto your knee, you can then hook it on the end and actually twist your spine, you see? You can pull in, like I'm pulling my elbow in. Be really careful of your knee though. You've got to keep your knee very strong to not sag your knee in. So you've got to hold that knee strong and then pull on it. And you get a nice twist on your spine. Then come back up. Do the opposite. Grab your knee with your elbow and twist in just a fraction. And then come back up. Down again. A little twist. Up again, breathing in. Down again, breathing out. Little twist. Okay, now that the legs are a little bit hotter, let's just lengthen them out and then we'll get into some more
how to help you with that.
Bagua orientated stuff. I mean, that's Bagua, really, but what I mean is like form stuff as opposed to warm-up stuff. Okay, so let's just go down, crawling down. Crawling down, crawling down, crawling down. Walking yourself forward. If ever you need to put your knees on the floor, just drop them on the floor to give yourself a rest, but preferably keep them up. Coming into a front position, just a normal front plank, okay? Engaging your core. Take it back again. Back till you're balanced on your rear legs. Bring the weight forward onto your front legs. Keep your pelvis from sagging or from arching. Tuck it under. And then walk it back again. Okay, this time when you get into this front position, bring one leg forward to the outside of your palm, and it's turned out at 45 degrees. Lengthen that rear foot at the rear, so point your rear toe. And you're just going to lengthen and reach through that back leg, opening it up. And then turn your body in towards your standing leg. Just a little bit of an opening here in the glute and stretching through the side of the hip here down the bottom. Bring it back to the front. Flick it around. So standing on the ball of that standing leg. And of course flexing the heel up, stretching, opening through here. Remember, this is a morning wake-up stretch. This is not a flexibility stretch. It's just loosening up and waking the muscles up. Not sitting there passively holding a stance for 5 minutes to try to increase your flexibility. This is just to bring our bodies into our normal level, our current level of flexibility. Full flexibility increasing training should be done at the end of your session, which is like what we do after, Tuesday and Thursday night classes. In our cool down, we do more stretching, long holding stretchings. Okay, crawl to the other side. Again, that foot is turned out from my body. Put your toe on the ground, lengthen the foot. Lengthen through that rear hip. If there's only one thing I can do in the morning before I rush off somewhere, if I'm running late, it's usually that one we just did, the elbow to knee one, to sort of heat the muscles up, because it pretty much works all the muscles, even the arm muscles. And then this one, I'll do that sort of crawling forward a couple of times just to get a little bit of extra heat into the arm muscles. And then lengthening through here. Like maybe you have to get up super, well, this is already getting up super early. But maybe you have to get up early and, jump in the car, go to the train station, go to London, fly off to somewhere to do a workshop. So a lot of sitting, lots and lots of sitting. So I always like to make sure I move to some degree. Turn towards your standing leg. Stretch down through the side. Yeah, if you know you're going to have a very sitting sort of a day, at least just open up all the muscles. It takes, you can do a short version in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is better than nothing. Lengthening through that hamstring. You'll notice how I'm sometimes bending the knee, that front knee, sometimes pointing the toe. Again, see, I'm just wriggling around. I'm not doing one static position. sit down on the floor. Just want to open up this area a little bit as well. I'm feeling a little bit cold and tired this morning because I only got 5 hours sleep last night. Got stuck on some important family matter calls with Australia last night. So you got to time zone it because it's their morning, you know. So yeah, I didn't get to bed till midnight last night, and it's a 5:30 start today. So I'm a bit, yeah, if I look a bit tired, that's why. Right, so we're going to start like this, but actually fold this leg in a little bit. Fold it in like that. So you're just sitting on the floor, right? So one foot's just here in front of you, the other foot's just sort of out to the rear. Now what I want you to do is grab hold of this foot, like so. You should be okay. Most people should be able to sit here like this. Like I'm not feeling any stretch currently. A lot of you will not be feeling any stretch there. If you are, you know, then it does mean you're quite tight in your muscles, but that's fine because this is your level currently right now. So work on that. Just pull that foot in. But if you're not feeling a stretch, then move your knee back. Okay? Support your body weight here with this hand and just move your knee back. If you're starting to feel a stretch, that's good. Hold it there. If you're still not feeling a stretch here, you can push, you see? Push your pelvis forward a little more. Now you're starting to feel a stretch. And then if you're still not feeling a stretch, you can go a little bit further by, see how I'm starting to roll over this foot in front of me? Rolling over this way. I'm still leaning forward quite a lot. Like I'm not trying to stand upright. I'm leaning forward. And the more you roll over that foot, like the more you turn over it, the more stretch you're going to get on this back leg. And if you're still not feeling a stretch, then straighten your body up a little bit, right? So you're going to push up this way using this hand. And that's going to be the maximum point of the stretch. Notice I can lengthen that leg again away from me. So a lot of you might not be able to get into this position, so just stay in whichever. That's why I take you through those stages. Go to the stage which gives you a good stretch. And if you get to this position where your heel is touching your bum with the leg fully extended to the rear, well then your quadriceps and hip flexors are in very good order. They're very flexed, very nice and long, and you just need to wake them up a little bit. Okay, let's do the other side. Same thing. So just sit on the floor like so. Grab that rear foot, stretch it in. Feeling a stretch? Yes, stay there. No, push your foot back. Feeling a stretch? Yes, stay there. No, push your hips forward. Push your pelvis, like so. Still not feeling a stretch? If you are feeling a stretch, just stay there. Just feel that stretch. And again, just kind of move a little bit. It's not static. You're just moving your body around, wriggling around in that position. Still not feeling a stretch? Just hold that foot wherever it's comfortable, whether it's like this or like this or like this, just wherever it feels comfortable to hold that foot. Roll over, turn into it, still leaning forwards a little bit. You should be feeling a stretch by now, but if you're not, then straighten your body up. So you're lengthening that quadricep from both ends. You're bending the knee back, but you're also bending the hip back. So the muscle's getting pulled from both sides, kind of thing. And again, still moving around. All right, let's stand up. We're going to start with some walking. So as I say, I'm assuming you all know the basics of walking. I'm not going to start from scratch. That's what we're going to do in the Tuesday night class. I'm assuming you have a basic, you've seen it somewhere. You've done a little bit of training, either with the video or or a teacher somewhere. We're just going to start walking the circle and do a couple of inside and outside changes to begin with. So, as obviously I don't have a circle painted on the ground. You don't need a circle painted on the ground once you're past a certain point. It's about moving your body correctly. The circle is only there as a guide point as to, oh, okay, so if I put my foot there, put my foot there. Otherwise, you might be sort of, not knowing where to place your feet. The Taiji form is a little easier from that respect because the movement is not square in Taiji, but the directions are square. We face the front. We face the corner, we step forward, we face the front, we face the corner, it's a little bit always facing either a cardinal or a corner. There's exceptions to that rule when you get far further into the form, but at the very beginning, it's very obvious where you should face. Bagua form, as you saw on Tuesday night, it's a little less obvious where your directions are, where you're doing your form, okay? So that's why we have the circle painted on the floor for those people learning. But once you know the form, there's no reason to have it on the floor. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. We're just going to set in. Let's just start walking first. As I say, I'm assuming you know the basics here. So let's just start walking a little bit. If you're unsure about any of this stuff, we'll be covering this stuff in detail next Tuesday morning class. Like from scratch, walking around the circle, showing you when to slip the foot, where's your weight, all these technical details of the walking. All I'll say for now is try and get this aspect that I'll just do a couple of steps towards you so you can see what my feet instead of following the circle, so that you're going. See the hips are twisting back and forth. See? Like that. Get your hips moving underneath. So it's not just your legs stepping. Your feet are sliding along the ground, not obviously stepping up like this. So they're sliding. And see how it's sort of doing like a little curve to the movement, whereas the inside leg just comes straight through. That's all I'll say for the feet for today. If it's your inside leg, meaning that's the center of the circle, so my left leg right now would be the inside leg. When that comes forward, it just comes straight forward, you see. The hips still turn 1, 2 as I step, 1, 1, you see, but the foot is projected forwards, 1, 2. Whereas the outside leg, my right leg now, it's going to come in. You see, so the feet always brush past each other. You see, the feet are always going like this. Brush, but see how it then sweeps back, because it's coming back onto the circle. So if I was standing on a circle here, my left foot would be just coming through and sliding along the circle, whereas my outside leg is going to brush my own foot. So my foot at this point is actually inside the circle. There's the center, there's the circumference of the circle. I will get a circle on the ground for the lessons at some point. But it sort of does a curve, so it circles in, you see, and back. So now it's on the circle. So see, it's a little sweeping action. So we get a straight action and a sweeping action with the foot, indicating the principles of boom, that type of a kick, right? Boom, coming off the back leg, just stomping straight into the knee, or this kind of a kick coming around that way, you see? So he's there, boom, maybe you've poked him in the eyes, your foot's sweeping around the rear and hooking around, kicking him in the back of the calf, back of the knee. Could also be maybe a throwing action of some kind, but usually it's deemed a little boom, a little snappy kick with the back of the heel, which can completely discombobulate your standing leg, as in the guy you're kicking. I've had personal experience with that one, being kicked not that hard, but just very precisely, and my body just wouldn't stand up anymore. As soon as I tried to put my weight back on that foot, I just collapsed to the floor. It's a very nice little kick. So, walking around, brushing your feet. If you think simply about brushing your feet as you walk, the hips should start to move roughly in the correct directions. Obviously, your upper body is twisting into the center. So the whole time, you see, it's like my hips are sort of following the circle whilst twisting underneath, but the overall position is following the circle. Whereas the waist, the upper body, is twisted in, so facing towards the center of the circle. So as I said in Tuesday night's class, at least give yourself a center point, just a something, just put something on the floor so you just know, okay, yep, my hand's still aiming at that center. If there's a little dot on the floor, if you don't yet have a circle painted on the ground, at least have a center from when you're learning. Otherwise you might be sort of over here too much or over here too much, so make sure you're centering into that movement. Gets the right twists happening on your body. Inside change, just like small sansao, most of you are doing that, just swivel on your heels, you see? Just like that, and shift your weight. Very, very simple. And just switch your hands. So pump one hand forward, the other hand comes back. And then you slip that foot forward and begin to walk the other way. Obviously, the main aspect of this exercise, I mean, sure, we're learning how to move the hips and train the waist and things like that, but just trying to get that nice grounded feel in your back leg. Nicely balanced in your back leg when you step. So each time when you step forward, you can put the foot on the ground. As I said, the feet are sliding, but try, even if my foot is seemingly to be on the ground there, I'm not putting it on the ground. I'm not pressing it into the ground. It's like it's just, I can just feel the grains of the carpet under my foot when I'm stepping. So I bring this foot through, but then it's just held off the ground. Just for like a moment. One moment in time, said Whitney Houston. Then you place the foot down and slide it along the floor for when we do that slipping step element. And that slip step should never be seen as the end of the step you're doing. It's the beginning of the next step. So I'm here and I'm going to go, oh shit, whoop, whoop. See, it's part of that next step. Yeah, so step around and think, okay, I've got to step. I'm balanced after my step. Then I place the foot, slide it along. I'm balanced after my step. If you need to sort of, you know, my feet still in frame, yep. Step and kind of like, oh, just, you know, maybe just touch the toe down, just to kind of hold your balance a little bit. I personally find it's better to just tap your toe on the ground very gently to maintain your balance, to center your body, rather than, for example, thinking, no, I must not put my foot down. And then we end up going, you know, trying to find our balance like this. No, I'm not allowed to touch. This is not really finding your center, you see. So better to sort of go, just, okay, there it is. Take a step, just hold that toe just there. So use that toe as little as possible to maintain your balance, but as much as you need to as we're walking. And of course your eyes are just looking out where that front hand is. Let's do another inside change. Swivel, switch the hands. Walk back the other way. Keep your hands up here, facial height. Your hands should be, to be pedantic about it, if you were standing right in front of me and you're the same height as me, I should be able to see your face. So my fingers are roughly sort of like just underneath my own eyes. So my hands shouldn't be covering my face like that so I can't see forward. They're just there, you see? So I can just kind of see over the tops of my fingers when I'm walking. Obviously the rear hand is a little lower. The rear hand, by the way, if you just grab the fattest part of your forearm, like so, and then just off, like so. Yeah. Just a small space between there and there. And it's your upper body bringing that in. So if you stand on your circle, and there's your center there, place your long arm facing to the circle, place your short arm, wrist on your center line, like so. Now I've got to bring my short arm to my long arm, but without letting the wrist leave the center, which means I have to twist the upper body, you see? Now that's still on my center, rather than doing this. You see, now I'm just closing off this shoulder, not in my center anymore, all broken. So that's your classical Bagua walking position. There's a lot of different shapes, things we can do whilst walking the circle, but this is the standard sort of beginning one. It's the most applicable to fighting. Some of the other postures are kind of more just for strengthening, stretching, things like that. Like you're not going to fight someone in a silly stance like this, are you? It's too open. Let's try an outside change. So the other leg is forward this time. If your if your outside leg is forward, then obviously you turn inside the circle. Because from there, you can't turn outside the circle without taking a step first. If your inside leg is forward, the opposite is true. I can't turn inside, so I swivel outside, like so, okay? With reference to the upper arms, the upper body, you just turn your body outside the circle, shifting your weight to the back leg, just like we did before. But the front hand, the long hand, is going to cross over. They don't come evenly like this. They cross over. One, whoosh, whoosh. See that? So the long arm gives you the momentum, then the short arm comes out from underneath as the power for the movement, to strike. So, whoa, you see that? That helps you move. Whoa! I can see my target. Bah! Then I release it out. So it's a 1-2. The one, sort of to the point they're crossed, roughly halfway through the spin. And then the second half of the spin, the arm is coming out in a sweeping type of strike, like so. So that's your outside change. Why don't we just try that a few times, actually, just standing here like so, like that. Take this hand over, and back to there. Sinking the weight into the back foot as you do it, and back to there. Try and spot a little bit. So I'm coming across, like so, and I'm going to turn my head around. What? You see, so my eyes are looking out here as soon as possible, you see. Don't let your eyes just follow where your head's going, because you're going to be, whoa, oh shit, and there's your target. You'll also get dizzy, okay? So while your body is spinning, your eyes are kind of trying to focus to the front, like a ballerina does, called spotting. So I'm here on the front, I'm going, what? I've actually still got my eyes on the front, what? And then I go very quickly, what? Now I can already now see my camera right out of the corner, even though I'm still facing over here. I can just out of the corner of my eye see the camera. So that means I can see my opponent, obviously, and I'm less likely to fall over from getting dizzy from doing the movement. The outside change needs to be done a little bit quicker than the inside change. The inside change can be done as quick as you want, but what I'm saying is in the beginning, there's less time that your heels are pivoting. So it's just like small sensao. You can change like so. Whereas the outside change, because there's a bigger turn, the feet, look how far the feet have got to turn. Instead of just turning 90 degrees, that right foot is turning, oh, how far is that turning? Let's say if it's facing to the camera. What's that? 90, 180, 225 degree turn compared to 90 degrees. So it's more than double. So that means you can't do it super slowly because, of course, in order to pivot, you have to take the pressure off your toes. If you try to do it too slowly, you're gonna fall over, you see. So there's just that little whoosh, a little bit of momentum into the movement to get your body to spin around. Try and stay nice and upright as you do it. So be careful you're not, doing something like this, leaning forward. Stay nice and upright. Tuck the pelvis, chin tucked in, nice straight spine. Mostly the same as what you would be doing in your Taiji form. In fact, this same movement, you will see it in the Taiji form. Not walking around the circle, of course, but this spinning action is used in several of the Taiji forms. It's just more commonly found in the Bagua form. In fact, almost everything in Taiji and in Bagua is found to some degree in the other. It's just that it's, more commonly in one than the other. So the principles really do align quite well. I've always seen them as not really different, not completely different styles. It's not like comparing Taiji and karate or something like that. Okay, let's start walking and let's see if we can chuck in a couple of those outside changes as we're walking. So slip and walk, slip and walk. And outside change, slip and walk. Outside change. You might notice sometimes my outside change, if I stand right here in the middle of the room, the outside change should have this arm. See, it's big. See how my arms are extending out from the body. Obviously that front hand stays tucked when I do this. But then for the second half of the circle, it's a big swinging action. And same as the long arm, the front arm that starts. I'm throwing it around because the more I tuck it in, the less momentum it will give me. It's a lever, so it's staying out wide. But sometimes if I'm trying to put the center there so you can see what I'm doing, I'm here, maybe I'm doing my spin and there's a wall here, or there's a guitar there or something. So, I'm adapting to my environment. So maybe I drop the hand lower so I can go under that, or maybe I drop the hand in a little bit so I can come past it. So I'm always modifying my own movement so I don't punch my own walls. Stretching your fingers open gently. Outside change. Both heels, spinning on the heels. You should be doing that outside change before you do the slip step, so your heels should be relatively close together. You see here, there's not that much distance. When we're in the scissor stance, the closed stance, the knees are touching here, just gently, not like squeezed together, but they're just next to each other. And you can see it's not a very long stance. If you go slip step, if you go too long, you're going to feel awkward. It feels too long to do the spin, you see. If ever you are, for some reason, in a long stance, for example, if you need to do an outside change, let's say I've stepped through, step, I go slip, I'm already coming forward, but all of a sudden something happens, as in martially, like if I'm doing something with another partner, and I need to do an outside change now, Well, that's where I will swivel on the front heel, but on the rear ball of the foot to bring myself back. So longer stance equals heel and toe. So you see that means that foot comes in a little bit to shorten that stance up towards the end. Outside change. Slip. You notice after the change, I always start stepping. Here's an inside change by slipping the foot before I step. Always moving off the front leg. Outside change. If you're on a different step than I'm on, when I say outside change, then, you know, if you're on an inside change, I say outside change, just take another step and then do your outside change and vice versa. Later on, what we start doing is I start yelling change. Instead of saying outside change or inside change, once you're comfortable with those two changes, I just say change. And if you're on the inside foot, you've got to show an inside change. Change. If I'm on the outside foot, I've got to do an outside change. So you're learning to get the movement happening from a balancing point of view. Just boom, just do it now without having to go, right, this is what I've got to do, and mentally preparing yourself. You just do it. Okay? Inside change. Actually, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start yelling change, but just very slowly. So the walking is slow. So you've got a little bit of time to sort of think, hang on, what foot am I on? Which way do I need to go? So you don't end up going and tying yourself in a knot, doing it too quick. The point is to start off nice and slowly with these things. Change. And then for future classes, what I might do is I'll set up some kind of a little ding-dong system so that I'm also doing it in an unpredictable time. At the moment, I know when I'm going to do it, so it's only difficult for all of you following. That means I don't get the training, okay? So if I put up something that just says change, little recording of some kind, you can do that yourself as well. Just set a recording on your phone and just stand there for 5 minutes and go change. Wait several seconds, change. Just randomize. Don't get into a rhythm, of course. Randomize when change. When you're saying those words, and then play the tape, walk around in circles. Just put the tape on repeat. I don't think you'll be able to remember your sequence, as long as it's a good few minutes long. Change. See there, I had to tuck that hand in, otherwise I would have smashed the wall there. Change. 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 Another thing you might notice about my walking in this small room, I'm not staying on my circle. If there was a circle here, I would not be on it, because even a smallish circle, I'd be walking quite close to the wall. The only time I'd have space to do anything would be here, because then I'd be quite close to the guitars, I'd be quite close to this if I was staying on a circle. So what I'm actually doing is, I'm kind of walking in a little bit more of an oval shape, so I'm staying away from that wall. So I'm modifying my circle so that I've got my space to do stuff. Same as if I was doing the form. First palm change, not so much, but as I move through, say, the third palm change from here, and I come up to here, instead of following the natural circle, okay, there I actually could have because I was on that side, but let's say for whatever reason I was here when I was doing it, and I don't want to be like whacking this and whacking that as I'm spinning. So maybe I cut the angle. I'll cut the angle a little bit differently compared to the classical way of doing it. So once you know your movements and you know how to move your body, there's nothing wrong with doing that to adapt to your own space. Like you see me in the Taiji form. Sometimes you'll see me, doing brush knee twist step, coming to here, and then maybe doing the roll the foot and the pick up, but I'm taking the roll the foot and I'm taking an extra large step back, for example, so that then I've got space to do the next movement. So I'm modifying the form a little bit to fit into my space. All right, I enjoyed that walking. That was very nice. I still feel like a little bit more twisting. So I was going to do some Qigong. Now this is the first Bagua class, so let's do some more of we'll finish off with a little bit of the Bagua form instead of Qigong, since we've been doing Qigong in the other classes as well. Just got a few minutes to go. So let's just do the first palm change. Let's continue walking, in fact. We're going to continue walking. But we're going to come around, and when we get back to our sort of starting position here, I'll do all the palm changes here so that you can see me the best. Just do the first palm change. So we're going to go. Again, I'm not teaching you now the first palm change. I might chuck out a few little tips, but I'm assuming you at least know the basic foundations. So now we're back to that walking position. Slip, start walking again. Walk around your circle. See how that's one continuous movement when you turn outside the circle like that. So you step in, there's a strike, pop on the end, but then this next movement, continue. Just don't sort of go one movement, two movements, three movements. It's one continuous action. Look. And even that, you come around, you see? It moves into that walking. Even that final part, we're not stopping and then walking. It's all one continuous flowing action. There are different ways to do it where you pop the strikes a little bit more, but for now, it's nice to do it like that. Get your body back to straight. You're leaning backwards into that movement as you inhale, but then see you drop back in to that vertical position as you walk. See that movement there? What we're doing there, look. Bang. Look. Elbow to knee. This is just a little bit more physically moving stretching. I wouldn't do it this far if I want to maintain that flow, you see. To go all the way, it doesn't flow with that spiral back to the next move so well. So in the form, we don't go as low, but if you've done your warm-up as all the way down there, then when you do this little dip, oh yeah, okay, all your muscles are nice and strong. So that's what I mean about those warm-ups being part of your training to strengthen your body so that you're, when you come to do this posture then, it actually feels quite easy on your body. Okay, one more round back the other way. Nice. I enjoyed that. I haven't done any real proper Bagua training for freaking ages. Been really just doing so much of the Taiji teaching. So that was very nice.
Yes, it was.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Dagmar.
Yeah, very much.
Any questions?
Yeah. Have you got any more little tips on keeping that back heel down? I really struggle keeping that
Lots
back
of
heel
tips on keeping that back heel down. The first tip is don't force it. It's okay for the heel to come up. It does not matter. Ideally, at the end of the day, you're working towards keeping that heel down as you walk. But if it comes up just a half an inch, it's not the end of the world. It's better to stay relaxed and not force something to happen than to think, oh, I have to keep that heel down, but then you become stiff because you're forcing things to happen so much. So yeah, first tip is don't stress about it that much. Second tip is the pigeon walking. You can't pick up the foot flat, unless you've got extremely flexible ankles perhaps, but the average person is not going to be able to pick up that foot unless you walk like a pigeon. This part of it. So when you walk forward, I'll just show that briefly now. That's a good question. All right, so when you walk, you'll notice that I don't go walk like this sort of thing, staying straight. It's actually, see how if I stand like completely side on to you, when I slip the foot forward, see that? I'm going in at the waist of my head. See the angle? Oh, I like to think something's happening. Oh, shit, you see? Like as if I'm ducking my head forward kind of thing. So I'm going, oh, and running past it and getting around behind him. So that kind of intent. Even though you don't necessarily put your weight straight forward, you sort of slide the foot, but you're still getting this kind of intent. By having the foot body a little bit forward at that point where you try to bring that foot in. Now, as I step, of course, I come back up to straight, you see. I'll just do it this way. Hang on, which way will I do it? This way. I'll go this way so you can see my leg on the outside stepping. If I keep my body totally upright, fully flexed, in a sort of more like a bow stance, it means that ankle is going to be really kind of maxing out, you see, especially as I get 100% forward. And it just won't bend that far. But when your body is just ever so slightly tilted forward, you're taking off all the pressure from here. Now it's much easier to pick up the foot flat, you see, when the body is very slightly tilted forward. Once the foot's up, coming forward, as it comes through, the body comes back up to a vertical position. So that's probably there's other things as well which we'll go over in the beginners class when we're learning the thing. But yeah, that's sort of the best tip that most people don't usually realize. They might know about the pigeon walking, but they haven't connected the dots and said, oh, so okay, the tilting forward allows that stress to come off the ankle and allows it to come up that little bit easier.
Cool.
You're welcome. All right, well, oh yes, Robert?
Obviously, I am a beginner for this, but have I understood right that when you're circle walking, in effect, every step starts with a movement of the other foot? So if I want to bring my rear foot forward, it's my front foot that leads before, and then it's my front foot that leads before my rear foot actually.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little front slip step, like a shuffle, like you're standing there and you got to basically think, I'm going to kick him with my back leg, but I'm not close enough. So I've got to do a little step kick type of thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, well, I've got another class now, so I'm going to have to shoot off. So I will see you all, I'll see many of you tonight, hopefully, for Yang Luchan class.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
See you soon, guys.
Bye.